Welcome to the hardest MyGM challenge, where we're trying to finish the season 500,000 fans ahead of second place, playing on the hardest settings by only using a roster of local talent, aka jobbers. We're currently 106,000 fans ahead in our ultimate quest for this season. Last week, we saw Penelope Perfect retain her women's title against Trixie Gambit, Stacked McSlacks turned heel as he randomly attacked Jerry Hattrick backstage, and Jerry Hattrick turned face as a result of the fans taking his side. Week 2 will be an exciting one. We're going to find out more of the local talent that we've managed to sign to our roster to represent NXT this season. In the first week, our signings were very limited, but once you progress to week 2, another load of free agents become available to negotiate with, and we snapped up quite a few additional jobbers to our roster. But that's not all. There are multiple subplots bubbling beneath the surface, and this presents a variety of challenges that we'll need to overcome. We need to increase our lead by a further 394,000 fans with just 24 weeks remaining. That would be hard enough in a regular challenge, maybe even impossible, let alone with the fact that we currently only have a threadbare roster of jobbers. As always, I started the week by checking my inbox. Chuck McWagon came to tell me that he is sick of losing and is demanding a win from his next match. This must stretch back to last season because he's only lost one match this year. Something that's really important for us right now and in this season overall is going to be managing the morale of our local superstars. Money isn't tight right now, but contracts are a lot more expensive to pay and renew this year compared to season 1. For example, Jerry Hattrick cost around $106,000 to retain in the draft. I think this is nearly $100,000 more than it cost to permanently sign Jerry, once the least popular jobber in the free agency pool last year. Side note, it's kind of funny that a permanent signing actually just means permanently until the end of the season, so not permanently. However, I can't guarantee Chuck McWagon a win right now. I'll try to be creative to see if I can somehow appease Chuck's demands, or at least keep him from getting angry with me so early in the season. Trixie Gambit also came to demand a rematch with Penelope Perfect after a defeat last week. It makes sense. They had such a heated rivalry that went on for so long in season 1, and she didn't feel warmed up and ready to do battle after being thrust straight into a title match in week 1. However, they now have a level 4 rivalry. Ideally, we want these two stars to clash in a singles match at our first premium live event, SummerSlam, which takes place in week 5. Again, I tried to be creative to keep Trixie happy. Keeping everyone happy is the name of the game right now. There will definitely be times where I have to reject requests, and that will lower morale, and I'm sure there will be times where I accidentally anger members of my roster too, so taking care now will help make things easier further down the line. Week 2 is going to see a host of new and returning faces joining the NXT roster, and I'm excited to show you the card that we put on. We started with our first tag match of the season. The women's tag team title would be on the line. Women's champion Penelope Perfect would be teaming up with a newcomer, Pretty Ruthless, as she attempted to regain both belts that she briefly held last season. Penelope is 1-0 for this season and finished last year with an impressive 9-6 record for a 60% win rate. Not bad considering the standard of opposition that she was up against. But it wouldn't be easy, as she came up against Ali Brawler, who returns to NXT from last year and was a multi-time tag team champion, alongside her long-time partner and Penelope's rival, Trixie Gambit. This is the way I tried to meet Trixie's demands for a rematch. Hopefully it worked. Either way, Trixie should be happy as Ali and her picked up their first wins of the season and went over to win the vacant women's tag team title. It was a 3.5 star rated opener, a pretty good start to our show considering we're only in week 2, although it did have some popular local stars involved. Precious Silver then took to the mic to call out Danielle Wallace. Both jobbers were defeated in a fatal 4-way last week, but seemed to take offense at each other's dirty tricks and underhand tactics. Precious sets Danielle a challenge. If she's brave enough, she wants to face her in an Extreme Rules match next week. It seems to be a success as the rivalry grows to level 2. The second match this year sees the fans booing relentlessly as Stacked McSlacks returns to the ring for the first time this year. He was a face last year and featured a number of times, finishing the year with a record of 6 wins and 7 losses, but he's built up an extremely negative reputation in such a short space of time. That's what happens when you beat up the fans' idol Jerry Hattrick backstage. He's facing Triton, who we definitely wanted to keep this year, but Chuck McWagon would be running in to attack Triton. I couldn't guarantee Chuck a win this week, so I tried to see if doing an interference would at least keep him quiet for the time being. He seems to like being a nuisance after all. Stacked McSlacks wins in a 3-star match, and Triton is absolutely furious with Chuck McWagon, and their rivalry continues to develop. I thought this was a better way to increase their rivalry rather than continue to put them into multiple bad bruiser versus giant matchups that would get low ratings. Jody Garcia then made a self-promotional appearance. The fans had very little idea of who Jody Garcia was, but they'd been impressed with her Week 1 fatal 4-way victory against some more established stars. She tells the fans that she could have played basketball for the Canadian national team until she realised she had a fondness for leather and face paint, and that they could expect more victories from her throughout the season. Much like the fans, I had no idea if that would turn out to be true. We then put on a triple threat for the first time this year, and it featured a mystery opponent. 3 men, a normal match type, and only one winner. The Mean Green Money Machine Cash Suplex returns to try to get revenge over Military Man Dante Roberts after his Week 1 defeat. It is amazing that these two first featured in the injury risk week of last year when Mick Foley played his Cactus Jacked card, but they went on to become integral members of the NXT brand, with Cash Suplex finishing Season 1 with a 5-7 record, but Dante Roberts had an impressive 6-3, 67% win percentage. Dante is also undefeated so far this year and sits on a 4-match win streak overall. But who would the third man be in the ring? Neither of these men knew who they'd be facing, and the fans didn't know either. Wait, is that? It is! It's Jackson Smooth's music! He's recovered from losing all of his teeth and 8 of his toes at the hands of Mick Foley last year. The fans are amazed at his recovery, but surely there's no way he could win on his return appearance, right? Just making it through this match alive would be a positive result for Jackson Smooth. But he won! He ends Dante's winning streak, and Jackson Smooth is back with a bang. It's his first win for NXT in his second ever appearance, and it was a 3-star match. Dante Roberts and Cash Suplex didn't seem to care too much about Jackson winning. Honestly, most people would probably be happy for him. They only cared about the fact that they blamed each other for their loss, and their rivalry grew as a result. I don't think this is the last time that Dante Roberts and Cash Suplex will be squaring up this season. The fans then saw a heartfelt charity appeal from an unknown jobber. A local collegiate track star, known affectionately to her friends as Sprinty McGee, Sammy George makes an appeal on behalf of Diamond Lobby Wrestling. She brings up an interesting fact. Did you know that over 90% of Diamond Lobby Wrestling viewers are not subscribed? There's a pandemic of unsubscribed viewers going around, and just one click of the subscription button can help protect you. Clicking the notification bell also gives 3-time protection. According to Sammy George, this is not verified by scientists, and you should consult with your local YouTube subscription expert. Always do your own research. And then it was time for the main event. We're hearing rumours of something huge happening tonight. We've already seen the shock return of Jackson Smooth, so how much better can it get? All we know is that this will be a last man standing match. You need to knock your opponent down for a 10 count to win, but we don't know who's going to be featuring. Who's going to be first out? It's Kyle Slickman. He's rejoining NXT for the season. He had a poor season by his standards last time out, finishing with a record of 8 wins and 9 defeats, which is not terrible by any means, but over the summer, he did manage to win the Jobbers World Cup and looked exceptional whilst doing it. Could he be back to his very best? And who was his opponent going to be? Who is going to walk out next? Oh my god. It's Jerry Hattrick. Kyle Slickman's tag team partner from last year. It was Kyle that got pinned to end Jerry's undefeated season and prevent him from retaining all of the belts, and Jerry hates Kyle for this, perhaps rightfully so. Jerry has never lost a match himself, finishing season 1 with an unbelievable 11-1 record, and he's only lost because of Kyle. Jerry is out for revenge tonight and has never lost in a singles match. And he's putting the North American Championship on the line as well. Could this be the night where it all comes crashing to an end? What a match we have on our hands. It's hard to believe that these two were the closest of friends a matter of months ago. And it's Jerry that retains. It's a 5-star, legendary match that suggests Kyle was at fault for their WrestleMania mishap. They now have a feud that looks like it's only just getting started, so where will this rivalry go next? That was a pretty good week for us. It started with a 3.5-star opener, followed by 2 3-star mid-card matches, and finished with an unbelievable 5-star main event that will go down as one of the greatest shock matches in WWE history. There's no way any of the other brands are competing with our results this week. Surely. We scraped a second place in week 1, but this week we gained 53,700 fans. SmackDown then gained 30,000, NXT 2.0 gained 27,800, and Raw gained 34,700. We absolutely smashed it, but we have many more difficult challenges ahead, and we'd need months of this caliber of performance if we're going to have any chance in this challenge. Needless to say, that seems unlikely, but we're gonna give it a bloody good go. We end week 2 with a 129,000 fan lead over Kurt Angle's SmackDown. Mick Foley's Raw isn't too far behind, but Xavier Woods and NXT 2.0 are basically coming along for the ride this year. They might apply power cards to us, but other than that, they're so far behind that they don't stand a chance. And I'm not setting that up to set up an unlikely comeback story. They literally have no chance. It's almost comical how badly they're doing, considering this is meant to be the AI on the hardest possible difficulty. Next week will be very tricky to live up to these standards. Will we be able to put on a show that lives up to new and lofty expectations, or will things start to crumble?